All right, guys, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome to another live stream. So these are the four rules to being financially literate. I think it's very important to be financially literate. Most people are not, and you got to think about it. When we go to school, if we think about grade school, right? Grade school to high school, we don't really have any financial literacy classes. It's just math, reading, some history, then you have some type of elective like music and things like that, but they don't really implement any financial literacy in any of the things that you learn in grade school, high school, and even college, right? The electives, what do you call it? The pre-courses that you take that you need to get to your actual major, you don't even learn financial literacy. So it's important that you learn financial literacy. I think these four rules are key. And actually, I've been seeing in some states they actually have been having it mandatory that you have some type of financial literacy course. I forget which states they are, but I was reading about that. I think probably like 4 to 5 months ago. I saw an article about implementing financial literacy in the curriculum for grade school and high school. I'm just not sure what they're teaching, right? But I think these four rules are very important, so let's get into it. But before we get into the rules, let me just do a quick mic check to make sure my mic is working, and then we could get into the four rules. Got to make sure that mic is working. That way we are not wasting time. Grade school and high school, I'm just not sure what they're teaching, right? Okay, yeah. So it looks like my mic is working. If it doesn't work, if you guys hear something, please leave a comment and I'll see it and I'll try to fix it as soon as possible. All right, the first rule that you should understand when it comes to financial literacy is that you need to understand opportunity cost. It says here, every financial decision has an opportunity cost, which is the value of the next best alternative you forego when making a choice. For example, spending money on a luxury item today may mean missing out on a potential investment returns in the future. Recognizing opportunity costs helps you make more thoughtful and beneficial financial decisions. And this is true. Now, the first example that they gave is pretty simple. Yeah, like you spend your money on a luxury item, that means you don't have that money to put in investments. That's very the basic kind of opportunity cost. But some opportunity costs that people don't really see is one, let's just start off with, like, let's say you start your first job and all you hear about is 401k, put your money in a 401k and things like that, contribute because they're going to match. Well, that grows really slowly. So it's going to take you 25 to 30 years to get to your financial goal. And for me, I really don't recommend 401ks that much unless you just want to be a 9 to 5 worker for the rest. Like if you just want to invest that way, then okay. But that's an opportunity cost because you're locking up your money in that 401k for 30 years. Now, obviously, you do get it at the end, depending on how you set it up. Depends on what kind of taxes you're going to pay at the end. But that's an opportunity cost because you could have focused on, because I believe in not diversifying too much in your beginning years. And if you go into a 401k, you're very diversified. You're going into a mutual fund, you're going into an index fund, and you really don't get exposure to true growth. So you would miss plays like Nvidia, you would miss plays like an Apple. You would miss plays like a Palantir. You would miss plays like a Tesla because you're so exposed to 200-300 stocks that's the opportunity cost. So I don't think it's just for simple things like that, like, okay, I buy this luxury item, now I can't use that for an investment. I think you need to think about it that way as well, but also in the way where every time you make an investment decision, just know that money can't be used for something else. So you want to make sure that you're doing your research when it comes to investing, because if you don't pick the best option, if you don't do your due diligence, you're not going to get the best return. It's an opportunity cost, and we see it all the time. That's why I always recommend to have some cash on the side. Don't always go all in, because I've seen that a lot for me. This is one of the things that I've had to work on. was to keep some money on the side, a good amount, because there's always a good opportunity. There's always a better opportunity. And I at least want to be in it a little bit as opposed to not being in it at all, because I put all my money in this investment that I thought was going to kill it, right? So I think opportunity, you need to look at opportunity cost. This is one of the top financial literacy lessons that I think they should teach in school. If you go into one option, make sure that you consider the next best option, or maybe a better option, right? Make sure you consider all options before you go into something, because you could be losing out on the best return. So yeah, understanding opportunity cost is number one. I think that's very important. Number two, differentiate between needs and wants. Mastering the distinction between essential needs, housing, food, healthcare, and discretionary wants, entertainment, luxury goods, is key to financial health. Prioritizing needs over wants ensures that you allocate your resources wisely and avoid unnecessary debt or overspending. Now, again, we could go into the simple example and say, okay, do you need a luxury bag? Do you need luxury shoes? No, you don't need that, but you do need shoes. You may need a bag to carry your stuff. So it's not necessarily saying you don't need a certain item. It may be you don't need a certain type of item, right? You don't need the most expensive car. You don't need the most expensive apartment. You don't need the most expensive coffee and things like that. Now, again, I'm really not the type of person that likes to be frugal. So I'm not too big on, pinching pennies everywhere you can, but you do need to understand. I think that's the basis of financial literacy, understanding wants and needs in the beginning until you're to a point where you can buy the things that you want, or you're making enough money to have a little leeway to say, okay, maybe I could get that slightly expensive car now because I'm in a better position. Not to the point where you're spending over what you're spending is more than what's coming in, but to a point where it's like you can manage your wants and needs at a level where you're looking at it, not just getting rid of the item in total, because sometimes you do need those items. You do need food, right? You do need food, but maybe you don't need to go out to eat every week. Maybe you don't need to buy your lunches and things like that. Maybe for a certain time period in the beginning, you are packing your lunch, making your meals, and then once you start to make a little bit of money, you say, okay, my time is best used in this other space where I can make more money. Now maybe it makes sense to buy these packaged meals or buy the food prep or whatever the case may be. Because I've done that in my life. I've upgraded lifestyle to the point where it's like I've made more money, but I'm not spending exactly how much more I'm making. I'm a slowly increasing lifestyle, because I do think it is about quality of life as well. So I don't recommend people to live a crappy life just to save a couple dollars here and there. The whole goal is to make sure you hit your financial goals, make sure you have a good savings and good investments and things like that. It's not to pinch pennies. If you can afford it, do it. But you definitely, in the beginning, if we're talking about the 4 rules to financial literacy, number 2, differentiate between wants and needs. I think that's good in the beginning. And then slowly but surely, you can make that decision where you can increase lifestyle, but not increase it too much where you're spending more than what's coming in, right? All right, so number three is understand the importance of liquidity. Liquidity refers to how easily you can access your money when needed. It's important to have liquid assets like cash or savings in a bank account for emergencies. Tying up all your money in long-term investments or assets like real estate could leave you without funds during an urgent need. And this is true. Most people tell you get a home, buy a home. First investment is to get a home. Right. And that's the most illiquid asset you could get into. And I don't think people should rush to get into a home. You have to put, in most cases, 20% down, which is going to be around, with the house prices right now, probably anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. And then when you go into, I know when I go into an apartment, I want to buy all these things, because just imagine for a house, you get into your new house, you want to get this new sofa, you want to get this new TV, you want to fill in the rooms that are not even going to be occupied because you just want to do that. So I think understanding liquidity is important on that side as well, where you're saying, okay, this money's going to be tied up for a long amount of time. We talked about the 401k. Your money's going to be tied up for 25 to 30 years, and you're not going to have access to that money. And if you do want to get access to that money, you get a big penalty. So it's very important to know how long your money is going to be locked up. And then also liquidity in the sense too that for like stocks and crypto right now, because it's a hot asset class, but liquidity is also important because, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. Like in crypto, people that invested in like Doge and Shiba Inu, they're always like, oh, if it just goes to $1, then I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. But they don't understand liquidity in the sense that the market cap needs to reach like $2 trillion to get to $1 because it's so low in price and it already has a large market cap. I think like Doge and Shiba Inu are in the billions in market cap. So in order for that to get to $1 trillion or even 100 billion, it's going to need a lot of liquidity to come into the market. So understanding how much liquidity it's going to take to move a certain investment is very important. I think a lot of people skip this step or skip this knowledge base because they just think, oh, well, it's at 10 cents now. It'll be, or it's at like 0.002 cents now. It'd be easy just for it to go to $1. It's not that far away, but it is really far away when you look at the market cap. So I think when it comes to liquidity, you need to look at it in two ways. One, you need to look at it like, okay, if I put my money in this asset, do I have enough money in savings to hold me over if I have an emergency, or I'm gonna have to liquidate this illiquid asset and that's not bringing me any cash flow, and then it's gonna put me in a bad space. And then two, understand how liquidity moves the asset you're invested in. If you invested in something that already has a 20, $30 billion market cap and it's at $1 and you think it's going to go to $200, just know that it's going to have to be in the close to 800 to $1 trillion market cap to get to that price point. So it's not always about the price. You need to really look at the market cap when it comes to liquidity. So I think that one's a good one, and I think that would be if I came up with a course in financial literacy, that would kind of be one of the the major rules to follow by. All right, number four, have a long-term vision for wealth building. Now, it just depends on how you look at it, but most people these days want to get rich quick. They want to get to that million quickly, and for me, I think it should always be 5 to 10 years. Wherever you're at, it should be 5 to 10 years, depending on when you start your journey to get to that financial goal, whether it's $1 million, 2 million, or even 100,000. I think you should give yourself 5 to 10 years. Maybe for the million mark, 5 to 10 years. Like if you're like 20 and you're starting off, I would say 20 to 25, because most people will get into an investment and only have a year to 2 year vision on that, and then they end up getting screwed, right? Because they end up trading in and out of certain assets, and they don't end up reaching that financial goal. It says here, achieving financial success it's a marathon, not a sprint. Focus on long-term strategies like building diverse investments, practicing patience in market cycles, and thinking ahead to your financial future rather than seeking quick wins. Whether wealth building requires discipline and foresight over time, these principles build a strong foundation for long-term financial security and independence. Now, I do think the diversification is a little... You shouldn't be too diversified. Like I said, the max for me is like 3 assets. It's just my opinion in the beginning, and then you could probably slowly build that out. But you got to think about it. Most people don't really get, like, if they do make $1 million or they have $1 million in assets, they're like 60 to 65. So if you're 20 and you could do it by 35, you've cut the time down by 30, 35 years. So just look at it like that. If you're 20, don't try to hit that million by 22. I mean, if you do, great. Not saying that you can't do it. There's a handful, the group of people that can do that, hit it within 2 to 3 years, but give yourself some time. I'm not saying take forever, but just give yourself some time. That way you could build out a nice plan to actually hit that goal. And I think like I said, 20, if you're 20 years old and you say, okay, most people get that million by 60, I'm going to do it by 35. Well, you gave yourself 15 years. It's not short, but it's not long. It's right there in the middle. So I think that's very important. But yeah, so those are the 4 rules. Like if I had to build a financial literacy course and I say, okay, these are the 4 rules that I want people to follow by, this would be the guide. And again, the number 1 rule is understand opportunity costs. It's very important to understand opportunity costs in the sense that, okay, if you go into a certain investment, what other opportunities are you giving up? And are you giving up the best opportunity for a lower opportunity, right? A lower opportunity that won't give you as much as the next one. 2, differentiate between needs and wants. This is important in the beginning of your financial journey. Like I said, I'm not the most frugal person, but you need to understand, okay, I do need food, I do need car, I do need shelter. These are all needs, but do I need the best version of this in the beginning? Yes, I do want to live a quality life later. I do want the things that I want, but I need to sacrifice in the beginning. So I shouldn't get the high quality version of these things in the beginning, right? 3, understand the importance of liquidity. Understanding liquidity is important. If you tie your money up in something, and this has happened to me a lot, you first, it's an opportunity cost too, because it's okay, I have my money in here, I can't take it out for 3 years. Let's say you invest in a stock and it goes down 50, 60%. As soon as you invest in a stock, it goes down 60%. And you know it's a quality stock, it's going to come back, but how long is it going to take for a 60% drop to come back? Maybe a year or 2. So now you're stuck in this position. So you need to put that all in the equation when you're calculating your risk and things like that. And then also know that markets are changing. So what maybe $100 million market cap was a lot today, or a lot yesterday, but today it's $1 billion market cap. That's probably equivalent to 100 million. So market caps are always changing. So always remember market cap when you're investing. Know how much liquidity it's going to take to move a certain investment. And then number 4, have a long-term vision for wealth building. You need to have a long-term vision. Again, it doesn't need to be the standard long-term where you do the standard 20 years old to 60 years old. You get your money out of your 401k, you don't really have much. But I think like 20 years old to 35, okay, you give yourself a 15 year window and you can work with that. I think with the technology we have today, you can get to your financial goals, whether it's $1 million or whatever financial goals you have. I think if you give yourself a 10 to 15 year window, early, the key is to start early in your 20s, maybe even in your teens. You could be done in your early 30s, late 20s, and live the life you want to live. All right, so yeah, those are the 4 rules that I think that you should follow when it comes to financial literacy. Like I said, they don't really teach this stuff in school. Even when I got my degree in finance, they didn't teach us anything about opportunity costs, liquidity, wants versus needs, and then the long-term vision. I think those are really important when it comes to financial literacy, and try to incorporate that. Look at your financial goals, look at your financial strategy, and those 4 things should be key to your process when it comes to your financial process. But yeah, some housekeeping items. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram, Mr. Financial Nutrition. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok, Financial Nutrition. I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.